The average rent price here in Calgary is $2,068 per month, up quite a bit year over year. This chart here showcases that we are the 24th most expensive city in all of Calgary, slowly inching our way up to number one where Vancouver likes to sit. So what's going on here in Calgary, Alberta? What's going on with our rentals? Let's go figure it out. Hello, my name is Fyfe, your Calgary realtor. This video is geared towards my investors out there looking at making an investment in Calgary, Alberta. Now, there will be some rental numbers for you tenants out there who are looking at getting into the market. Hopefully this helps give you a general understanding of what's going on. But for the most part, I help investors look at buying and selling real estate. So if that's you and you want questions, go ahead, book a call. The Zoom link is in the description. Let's go figure it out. So let's start macro and work our way down to micro, which is Calgary. Average asking rents in Canada increased by 1.8% monthly and 9.6% annually to reach another record high of $2,100 in August. While the annual rent of inflation for asking rents is lower than the 12% increase recorded a year ago in August 2022, it represented a 4-month high. So the rents have increased dramatically in 2022, and in 2023 they're increasing at such a fast pace. This chart here is really interesting because it shows that in August 2019, before the pandemic, you can see it was $1,800. It dropped actually about $100 during the pandemic. It stayed about $1,700 average across Canada. And then in 2022, 2023, inflation went through the roof and the asking price for rents have gone up dramatically. So Alberta here for a total is $1,600 per month. So it does have it broken down into studio 1, 2, and 3 beds. And the total increase is 16% year over year. The highest province in all of Canada. You can see that Quebec is in a similar situation. They are up 14%, but when you look at their total is actually $1,900 per month. So we still have about $300 on them. When you start to look at the studios, the 1 beds and the 2 beds, you can see the percentage increases all around. So when we start to look at a municipal breakdown here, you can see that Calgary is ranked 13th for the average rent and annual change in average renting by municipality. Tongue twister. You can see that the average rent at the beginning of the video I said was $2,068. So that's encompassing all 4 of these different sections here. You can see that the increase year over year according to this chart is actually 17.3%. One of the highest increases in all of Canada. You can see that the only other municipality that actually had a higher increase than us was Oakville, which I'm actually slightly surprised to see is more expensive than Toronto, being from Ontario myself. Don't really see the big drive to Oakville. At the same time, I don't really see the big drive to Toronto, but that's no here nor there. Huge increases in Oakville, huge increases in Calgary. Let's figure out how this is affecting you. So in future slides, when we start to talk about the average rents, this is the chart that we're going to use. So this chart's really nice because it breaks down into individual property types as well as the size of beds. So this is a really good breakdown to show what is going on in 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 bed. You can see as an example, a Calgary duplex for a 2 bed is $2,185 with the red arrow going up. The red arrow going up means that it's actually increased from last month, which is not good for tenants. And then the green arrow down, as let's just say a Calgary basement 2 bed $1,735 is a decrease from last month, which is beneficial to tenants. So when I start to refer to average rents, this is what I'm referring to. This is not broken down into quadrants or communities. This is a bare bone average across the whole city. So when we start to look at the unfurnished section of things, it does break it down into quadrants, which is kind of cool. We look at, as an example, a 2 bed in Northwest, which is 2019, which has gone down from last month. But then you also look at, let's just say a 2 bed in Northeast is $2,100, which is quite crazy to me actually, that the Northeast is more expensive than the Northwest. But there might just be a lot more demand there pushing that price up. So when you want to start looking at the furnished price, this is interesting because at the end of the day, I would imagine when you have a furnished property, that you're going to more or less go in towards an Airbnb. Now, Airbnbs don't work really well in every single community or every quadrant, but they do work well in most areas. Calgary is very touristy. So if you're going to spend the $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in furnishings, it might not be a bad idea to consider Airbnb. Now, there's a little bit more upfront costs, there's a little bit more expensive monthly maintenance fees and property management fees, but the incomes are pretty good. So, moving along, now, when I'm talking to my investors, right, I want to start to paint a full picture about what's going on here in the market, and it starts with price point. So we look at the total residential, the detached semis, rows, and apartments, and we start to see, okay, this is the average price across all of Calgary. Now, we do need to break this down in a lot more detail, which I'm not going to do in this video. But in this map here, you can see that the quadrants for total residential all vary in price point as well. You can see the Northeast is $480, whereas Calgary West is $698. I touch on these in a lot more detail in my market recap videos where I talk about the actual real estate market every single month. So if you're curious about that, go watch that. This is a rental video. So before I get going, I really need to throw this out there, and I'm going to say this really quick. I'm not a mortgage professional. You always need to consult your mortgage professional before a realtor. You really, really, really need to make sure that you have your financial situation in order before you start talking to a realtor about anything to do with investments. I use free online tools. These numbers are super vague. You really need to take this all with a grain of salt. It is very difficult to have a kind of an overarching, like an exact amount. This is very blanketed. This is educational only. Okay, educational only. In order to get to most of this content, you need a pre-approval. I've already talked about that. Every single situation is different. I can have 3 phone calls in one day, and they're all going to be very, very different. Investing takes a lot of time and patience. You really need to build up your foundation. You need to understand exactly what to expect. You need to know your numbers, because when we set up that foundation and I set you up on an automated search, we might lose contact for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. When that one property comes up on the market, we are running full tilt to make sure that we're going to get that opportunity at the best possible price, but being very competitive in this very active market. So take this with a grain of salt, build your foundation. It takes a lot of time. So how I'm going to start this off, and I'm going to try to do this super quick because I can spend all day talking about this. This is a detached single-family home with a legal basement suite. So when we start to look at the top line here, these numbers are going to change for every single property type. You got your asking price, $585. You've got your down payment of about 20%. You've got your total mortgage, your interest rate, which is uninsured because you have 20% or more. 5-year mortgage term, 25-year amortization. The current rents are from Rent Faster, which is that slide that I showed before with all the individual property types and the size of beds. So those are the average rents, again, blanketed over all of Calgary. So this is not for a specific community or quadrant. This is just a blanket, a super big blanket. And then you've got, your 2 breakdowns. So for this specific example, you have a total income of $4,100 a month, or almost $50,000 a year for rent. You've got your mortgage. Now, again, I use a free online rate sheet and mortgage calculator from Richard Mortgage Group. Great mortgage brokers. If you need one, reach out. I'll let you know their contact. They've got for a monthly mortgage on something like this, average $2,900. Okay, you're looking at about $2,250 in interest and only $700 in principal. Okay, that's a complete different conversation that I have with my investors. Property tax, super vague. $3,500 a year broken down into a monthly. You got your property management fees of about 10%. Home insurance, super vague, $1,800 a year. You've got your utilities, which is usually brought up or paid for by your tenant. You can offer whatever type of package you want with a full all-inclusive or not. Maintenance fees, 5%. I always recommend 5%, $2,500 a month. Very important that you save some money if something goes wrong with your furnace, hot water tank. So now, with all that being said, I kind of break it down here in the columns. So your total mortgage is about $3,500 a year, or $35,000. You've got your total income, which is about $49,800. Your total expenses is $48,192. That means that your cash flow after you save money into your maintenance account will be about $1,600. Okay, so not that much money, right? Not that much money, a lot of risk, not that much money. Your cash flow per month is about $134. Okay, so at least you're getting your maintenance fees covered, as well as some additional cash flow, of which I would recommend all my investors to put back into your principal if possible, right? You want to pay your principal down as fast as possible because it will really help you either leverage your asset faster and pay less interest faster. And your cap rate is about 6.33. I've had a couple people reach out, what's cap rate? YouTube it, very good explanations on YouTube. So single family home, legal suite, you're looking at about a cap rate of 6.3 with a monthly income of about $134 with your maintenance fees. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Semi-detached legal suites. This is my bread and butter. I really like semi-detached legal suites. So at the top here, you can see the prices, you can see the current rents, you can see the total incomes and the mortgages and all that jazz. Jump all the way to the bottom here, you can see that your annual cash flow is about $99, a loss of $99. So when you put that $2,200 per year in your maintenance fee, yes, you might lose $100, okay? Not the greatest investment, but I do have clients that want to get into the market and ride the equity growth train. It's a strategy that works, but you really need to make sure that you're getting into an up and coming community and you know what you're getting into. Maybe you're hands-on, you're a handyman, you can kind of make all of these fixes yourself if problems do arise, because with a negative cash flow every single month, you have to pay one professional to fix something. There goes your whole year worth of equity. So it's not the best investment to say, but again, based off of these blanketed averages, this is kind of what I've seen. So you've got a cap rate of 6.03, which is not that great, and then a cap rate with the mortgage at a negative 0.02. If I could find a semi-detached illegal basement suite and convert it into a legal suite, that's kind of where I like to be personally. I know a lot of different investors and a lot of different realtors will have different strategies, and that's totally fine, right? Real estate is very open source. You can do whatever the heck you want, and a lot of people find a lot of success in real estate, and I only have my own personal experiences. So townhouses are quite interesting. So we've got a 3-bed townhouse. So all of the numbers, the biggest things to note here are your condo fees. The condo fees really start to eat into your annual income. So you can see that a net loss of about $9,300 per year or $781 per month. So right now, townhouses, even though the rents have increased in some townhouses, the annual losses are quite great. Horrible investment. So with that being said, just jumping over to the apartments here, I'm going through this super fast because again, these are very vague numbers. These are just averages that I've found online. So you start to look at the 2 beds. I've seen some around $270 that I would consider. The 2-bed rents about $2,300. You can see all the numbers here in the main, and I don't know why I did that finger thing. That was super weird. You can see that there's actually a monthly loss of $117. But when you start to consider the 5% maintenance fee, where you should be putting some 5% going into your bank account, you're actually at net zero. So you're kind of at that bare bone basic. If you can rent it out for $2,300 a month, maybe downtown Calgary, you bought it for $270, you put 20% down, uninsured mortgage, you can kind of break even there. Again, there are really good buildings. There are condos that you can get higher rents, lower rents, whatever. It depends on the amenities. You will notice that the condo fees are quite high, $560 per month. That's kind of average that I've seen in Calgary. Realistically speaking, when you start to inch up into the 5, 6, 7s, you really want to make sure that you've got very good amenities. You've got a pool, you've got a really good gym, you've got really good views, you've got good amenities nearby, something that's going to help retain your tenants. The last thing you want is to turn and burn tenants every single month. So it might pay to have higher condo fees if the amenities within the building or the surrounded area are good. So lastly, what I'm going to show you real quick here is the 2-bedroom condo, the exact same price, all the same condo fees. You can see that I've upped it now to put 40%. Not a lot of people want to put 40% down, and I don't disagree with you. I think that's a lot of money. You can do a lot of things when you have 40% down saved. You can see it's about $108,000 cash. You start to dabble again into the Airbnb market or the long-term rental market. Airbnbs, you're looking at a minimum of probably $360,000, so please keep that in mind. But for the long-term tenant, you can see that there's a cash flow of $223 per month, as well as your maintenance fees that you're also saving in your other accounts. So in total, you're looking at about $350 cash flow per month. So condos still can work. They can work, but you have to find the right one. So I'm going to go back to what I said at the beginning. These are very blanketed numbers. These are very average numbers that I have very quickly put together for your educational purpose. When I deal with investors that are looking to get into the market, we build their foundation, we set them up on searches, we understand what's going on in certain areas that they want to be in, and then we're patient. There are many times that people bring me properties, we run the numbers, and we're like, you know what? It's just not that good, right? It's not that good. Maybe the cash flow is only $50 or negative $100 or whatever, right? You really want to make sure that you're taking your time and making the right investment, because if you jump in too quick, the market corrects, you don't get the exact rents that you were anticipating on getting. Maybe you didn't read through the condo documents enough, and then there's special assessments or increase in condo fees. You can be in a very tight situation. Investing in real estate should be taken very seriously, and finding someone who's going to actually build your foundation and share with you the knowledge and try to help you get educated so you can bring me information is very important. So super quick here. I hope this video wasn't too long. Please, if you've made it to the end, comment I made it, or I made it to the end, thank you, whatever the heck. I really do appreciate a lot of the people that stick through these things. I feel like sometimes I really ramble on, but when I'm talking about 7 different property types, I have to go quick because I'm going to lose you if the video is 20 minutes long. So thank you very much. If you have any feedback for me, if you want me to talk about anything in particular about the numbers, I do want to get back into videos talking about Calgary, yada. But if you got feedback, let me know. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.